Subscribe to my channel.
Okay guys, welcome to lesson 10. So in lesson 10 we will be discussing CSS box module. All right, we'll be discussing CSS box module. All right, now in CSS box module, I want you to pause the video and write down this HTML that you see here, the very short HTML that you see here. Okay, now you can write the HTML down and make sure to link it to our style sheet. Now make sure to link it to our style sheet. All right, good. Now I've created a style sheet already, the lesson 11. Okay, so in our style sheet we are going to be looking at the few things that I'm going to comment out here, the few things that I'm going to comment out here. All right, the few things I'm going to comment out here. We are going to be looking at them. We are going to be looking at margin. We are going to be looking at border. We are going to be looking at padding. We are going to be looking at content. Good. These are the things that make up your CSS box module. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to work with is I'm going to show you how this HTML looks like in the browser. So this is our HTML. Okay, now in the box module we have CSS box module and we have this is the content. All right, now working with the box module, the first thing we want to work with, margin. All right, we want to work with margin. But if you look in our HTML here, we have box module. This is what we're going to be working with. So we're going to call the style here box module, and then come here, and then in this box module we're going to say margin. So for margin we're going to say 50%. I want you guys to see what the margin does. All right, 50%. Come here and refresh this. Now if we make margin 50%, you realize that this text, this is our content, the content have moved from just being up here to coming all the way here. All right, this 50% have been allotted to the top, left, right and bottom corner of the entire content. Okay, now let me reduce it so that we can see 10%. Now come back here and refresh it. Now 10% of this margin is 10% top, 10% left, 10% bottom, 10% right. Okay, so what I'm going to do firstly, I'm going to color this so we can understand what I'm saying. I'm going to color it. Let me give you a background color. A background color of deep sky blue, and save it. Now so you can see and understand what we are saying. Now good, this is our content. This is our content in the color here. All right, now the margin is around the content. Now we can inspect this, we can inspect it. Now let us inspect it by right clicking on our Google Chrome and coming to inspect here, and then we see on the box module. Now on this box module here that we have here, the area here is our content. Okay, now this area is our content. Now let me open this place. This is our heading 1. As you can see here, this is our content. Now if I click here and come down, we see here there's the content. All right, this is the content. This is the entire box module, but we have created 50% between this content and 50% margin between our content and that of the box. Okay, that is what we just created. As you can see here, it having this type of color assigned to it. All right, now if we come on the content that you see down here, the content is being highlighted. Now let me bring this guy from the corner here so you can see what I'm talking about. Now this is our box module right down here. Okay, now if I come here, it show you where we have margin. There's our margin, there's our border, there's padding, and there's the content. All right, this is the content, there's the padding, there's the border, and this is the margin. Okay, so we shouldn't be confused. We shouldn't be confused. Let me open this up a bit so that we can see it very well. Okay, there's our margin outside here, there's our border, there's the padding, this is your content. So the next thing we're going to work with is our padding. All right, our padding. But before working with padding, let's work with border. All right, we want to work with border. We say border solid 50 pixel. We say black. All right, and save it. Now if I come back here to our work, cancel this, inspect, and refresh this place. Now you see the border is just around the content. The border is just around the content. Okay, now the next thing we want to do, we want to come and say padding. The padding is the space within the content. Okay, the space within the content. We say padding should be 30 pixel. Good. Now let's reduce the number. All right, the padding should be 15 pixel, and our border should be 10 pixel. So we save this and get back to the work. As we refresh it, now this is what we have. Okay, the space in here, the space that we find around between the main content and the border is our padding. Okay, so our padding is 15 pixel. Now in further lesson, we are going to be discussing them and showing how we can change them as well. Now we give our color already. We did color the content. All right, showing our content. Now if we say color, and then we say our color should be white, that is our content, and then we refresh this. Now you see our content color have changed. So now we will inspect this and show you what I'm saying. Good. So for here, we have a margin here, we have a border here, we have a padding here, and this is our content. Now this is our margin. The margin is the space that we find around it. This is our border. This is our margin. This is our border, and this is our padding. Okay, so we shouldn't get anything in it confused. Okay, so if I close this place here, and then we start to work with this element that we have here. Okay, we start to work in the style that we have. Now we have margin top, margin right, margin bottom, and margin left. Okay, for border. Now if we come here, we can stay here and start this identical element. Okay, we can stay right here and start this identical element, but we don't want to do it. All right, we want to stay here and start anything. Rather, we want to just understand how this affect our work. This is our content, this is the padding, this is the border, this is the margin. Okay, we just want to understand how can this affect our work. All right, so guys, thank you very much. This is for lesson 11. I'll see you guys in our next lesson, which is lesson 12.
Subscribe to my channel.